Okay, so you think you understand Costco. You pay a membership fee, walk into what looks like an oversized warehouse, buy groceries in quantities that seem almost ridiculous, leave with a cart full of products, and somehow spend far more than you originally planned. On the surface, it seems simple. Costco is just another retailer that sells things in bulk, a bigger supermarket, a larger Walmart, maybe even a cheaper Target. That explanation feels reasonable. It also happens to be wrong, because if Costco's business depended only on selling groceries, electronics, furniture, and household essentials, it would be one of the least profitable major retailers in America. The company deliberately prices many of its products so aggressively that the profit on individual items is astonishingly small, sometimes just a few percentage points, sometimes even less. So here's the question. If Costco earns so little on the products it sells, how has it grown into one of the largest retailers on earth? How has it built hundreds of warehouses across multiple countries, attracted well over 100 million cardholders, and generated hundreds of billions of dollars in annual revenue? Why? Does Wall Street consistently value Costco as one of the strongest retail businesses in the world, even though its prices are often lower than those of competitors? The answer isn't hidden inside the warehouse. It begins before you ever walk through the entrance. The moment you hand Costco money for the privilege of shopping there, the economics of the business become completely different from almost every other retailer. Costco doesn't begin the relationship by asking you to buy something. It asks you to become a member. That single decision changes everything. Most retailers spend enormous amounts of money trying to convince customers to return. Television advertisements, digital marketing, coupons, seasonal discounts, loyalty programs. Costco takes a completely different approach. Instead of paying customers to come back, Costco asks customers to invest in the relationship first. That annual membership fee creates something incredibly valuable. Commitment. Once you've already paid to shop somewhere, your behavior changes. You naturally want to make the most of that membership. Instead of wondering where to buy your groceries this week, you begin thinking, I'm already paying for Costco. I should probably shop there. One small annual payment quietly influences dozens of shopping decisions throughout the year. And that's exactly what Costco wants. Because every additional visit creates another opportunity for you to fill a shopping cart. The membership isn't simply another source of revenue. It's the foundation of the entire business model. But here's where things become even more interesting. Imagine two retailers selling the exact same television. Retailer A buys the television for $900 and sells it for $100. Retailer B buys the same television for $900 but sells it for only $930. At first glance, Retailer A appears to have the smarter business. They're making far more money on every sale. Costco intentionally chooses the second model. It accepts dramatically lower margins than many traditional retailers. Why would any company willingly make less money on every product? Because Costco isn't trying to maximize the profit from one transaction. It's trying to maximize the lifetime value of one member. Once you understand that difference, nearly every decision inside the company starts making sense. The unusually low prices, the limited product selection, the massive package sizes, the warehouse design. Even the famous $1.50 hot dog and soda combo. None of those decisions exist in isolation. They're all connected. They're parts of one carefully engineered economic system, and over the last 4 decades, that system has quietly become one of the most successful retail models ever created. But before we can understand why the membership is so powerful, we first need to understand why Costco intentionally built stores that don't feel like stores at all. Because those giant concrete buildings with products stacked on industrial pallets aren't designed that way to save money. They're designed that way to change the way you shop. Walk into a traditional supermarket and you'll immediately notice something. Bright signs, decorated shelves, end-of-aisle promotions, hundreds of brands competing for your attention. Everything is designed to make the store feel comfortable. Costco does almost the opposite. Concrete floors, industrial steel racks stretching toward the ceiling, products sitting on shipping pallets, minimal decoration. Very few signs. At first glance, it almost feels unfinished, like you're shopping inside a distribution center instead of a retail store. Most people assume this is simply a way to reduce construction costs. And it is, but that's only half the story. The warehouse doesn't just save Costco money, it changes the psychology of every customer who walks through the door. Retailers have understood something for decades. The longer customers stay inside a store, the more likely they are to spend money. Costco embraces that idea in a unique way. Unlike many supermarkets where you can quickly find exactly what you need and leave within 10 minutes, Costco rarely offers that convenience. The layout encourages exploration. You come in for paper towels, you leave with a television, a kayak, a giant box of snacks, and somehow a seasonal decoration you never planned to buy. None of this happens by accident. Costco deliberately rotates merchandise throughout the warehouse. Products that occupied one aisle last month may appear somewhere completely different today. That forces members to walk through much more of the building. Every extra aisle becomes another opportunity to discover something unexpected. Retail experts sometimes call this the treasure hunt experience. Customers never know exactly what they'll find. One week, it's luxury watches. The next, it's imported chocolate, then outdoor furniture, then high-end cookware. Many of these products arrive in limited quantities. When they're gone, they're gone. That creates urgency. Instead of thinking, I'll buy it next month, customers often think, if I don't buy it today, it probably won't be here tomorrow. Scarcity is one of the oldest psychological principles in retail. Costco uses it exceptionally well. The company doesn't need massive advertising campaigns telling customers about weekly specials. Members advertise the experience to each other. Someone discovers an incredible deal. They tell friends. Photos appear on social media. People make an extra trip to the warehouse, hoping to find the same bargain. Every visit increases traffic. More traffic increases sales. And because members have already paid to shop there, they're far more willing to stop by just to look. That single decision often becomes a shopping cart worth hundreds of dollars. The product selection itself is equally unusual. Walk into a typical supermarket, and you'll often see dozens of nearly identical choices. 20 brands of peanut butter, 30 breakfast cereals, multiple shelves filled with different versions of the same item. Consumers call that variety. Businesses call it complexity. Every additional product requires shelf space, inventory, warehousing, forecasting, supplier negotiations, transportation, employee time. Those costs quietly add up. Costco removes much of that complexity. Instead of offering 50 different options, it often chooses only 2 or 3, one nationally recognized brand, one premium alternative, and very often its own private label. That decision dramatically simplifies inventory management. Larger orders from fewer suppliers improve purchasing power. Warehouses become easier to manage. Products move faster. Storage costs decline. Cash flows back into the business more quickly. Every operational improvement supports the same objective: keep costs lower than competitors, because lower operating costs allow Costco to keep product prices lower. Lower prices attract more members. More members generate more sales. Higher sales create greater purchasing power with suppliers, which lowers costs even further. It's a cycle that becomes stronger as the company grows. But perhaps the smartest decision Costco ever made wasn't reducing the number of products. It was creating a brand that many customers now trust as much as, and sometimes even more than, the biggest household names in the world. A brand that quietly transformed Costco from simply being a retailer into one of the largest consumer goods companies on the planet. That brand is called Kirkland Signature, and understanding why it exists explains another major piece of Costco's economic machine. Walk through almost any Costco warehouse long enough, and you'll start noticing something unusual. The name on many of the products isn't Coca-Cola, or Kellogg's, or Duracell. Instead, it's a name that doesn't sound like a global consumer brand at all. Kirkland Signature. At first glance, it looks like just another private label. Almost every major retailer has one. Walmart has great value. Target has up and up. Amazon has Amazon Basics. So why is Costco's different? Because Kirkland isn't designed to be the cheapest option on the shelf. It's designed to be the smartest one. Most private labels compete by lowering quality just enough to offer a lower price. Costco took the opposite approach. Its goal wasn't simply to make products that cost less. It wanted members to believe they were getting national brand quality without paying national brand prices. That difference completely changed how customers viewed the brand. Today, millions of shoppers walk into Costco specifically looking for Kirkland products, not because they're cheaper, but because they trust them. That level of trust didn't happen overnight. Costco spent decades building it, and here's something most shoppers never realize. Many Kirkland products are manufactured by the very companies whose products sit next to them on the shelf. Coffee, batteries, olive oil, wine, pet food, baby formula, household essentials. Costco works with established manufacturers around the world, often asking them to produce products that meet Costco's own quality standards. Instead of spending billions building factories, for every category, Costco uses existing manufacturing expertise. The customer sees Kirkland. Behind the scenes, some of the world's largest manufacturers are doing the production. It's an incredibly efficient model. The supplier fills its production capacity. Costco gets premium quality products. Members receive lower prices. Everyone benefits, except perhaps the competing brands. Imagine you're standing in front of 2 bottles of olive oil. One carries a famous international brand. The other says Kirkland Signature. The ingredients look similar. The quality appears comparable. Independent reviews consistently rank both highly, but one costs noticeably less. For many shoppers, The decision becomes easy, and every time a customer chooses Kirkland instead of another brand, Costco strengthens something incredibly valuable: its bargaining power. Because Costco isn't just negotiating as a retailer anymore, it's negotiating as a brand owner. That changes conversations with suppliers. If a national brand wants shelf space inside Costco, it knows it's competing not only against other manufacturers, but against Costco itself. That gives Costco enormous leverage during pricing negotiations. Manufacturers know Costco has another option: simply expand the Kirkland line. When one side of a negotiation has a credible alternative, the balance of power shifts dramatically, and Costco understands this better than almost anyone. But Kirkland's success isn't just about stronger negotiations. It's also about something far more profitable: higher margins. Remember what we discussed earlier. Costco intentionally keeps product markups surprisingly low. The company has long maintained strict limits on how much it marks up many items, often significantly below what traditional retailers charge. That creates tremendous value for members. But even within those lower markups, private label products generally allow retailers to earn better margins than selling competing national brands. Why? Because there are fewer middlemen sharing the profits. Instead of paying another company for the value of its brand name, Costco captures more of that value itself. The customer still pays less, yet Costco often earns a healthier return than it would by selling an equivalent branded product. It's one of the rare situations where both the customer and the retailer can win simultaneously, and that's exactly the type of system Costco likes to build. Over time, Kirkland has expanded far beyond groceries. Today, the brand covers everything, from clothing and luggage to vitamins, electronics accessories, coffee, paper products, furniture, pet supplies, and even luxury items. Some industry estimates suggest that if Kirkland Signature operated as its own independent consumer goods company, it would rank among the largest brands in the world by annual sales. Think about that for a moment. One retailer quietly created a private label that rivals some of the biggest household names on earth. Without expensive television commercials, without celebrity endorsements, without massive global marketing campaigns. Instead, Costco relied on something much simpler. Every satisfied customer became the advertisement. Every positive experience strengthened trust. And trust became one of the company's most valuable assets. But none of this would matter if Costco couldn't move enormous volumes of merchandise. Selling premium products at low prices only works if inventory moves incredibly fast. A warehouse filled with unsold products doesn't generate profits. It ties up cash, consumes storage space, and creates risk. Costco solved that problem with one of the most efficient inventory systems in modern retail, a system that allows products to move through its warehouses at remarkable speed while keeping operating costs far below many competitors. And that invisible system may be the biggest reason Costco can keep its prices so low year after year. If you ask most people why Costco can sell products so cheaply, they'll usually give the same answer. They buy in bulk, and that's true, but it isn't the complete explanation. Buying products at lower prices is only one part of the equation. The real challenge begins after those products arrive, because every extra day an item sits inside a warehouse quietly costs money. It occupies valuable space. It ties up cash. It increases insurance costs. It requires employees to move it, count it, and manage it, and if demand changes unexpectedly, that inventory can lose value before it's ever sold. In retail, inventory isn't just merchandise, it's cash, waiting to be converted back into cash. The faster that happens, the healthier the business becomes. Costco understood this long before many of its competitors. Instead of trying to stock every possible product, the company focuses on selling an enormous quantity of a relatively small selection. A typical Costco warehouse carries roughly 4,000 products. That number surprises many people. A traditional supermarket may stock 40,000 items or more. Large retailers often carry over 100,000 different products. Costco intentionally does not. At first, that sounds like a disadvantage. Fewer choices should mean fewer customers. Instead, the opposite happens, because every product Costco chooses has one job: sell quickly. Imagine 2 warehouses. The first stores 100,000 different products. Some sell every day, others might sit untouched for weeks. The second warehouse carries only 4,000 carefully selected products, but every one of them sells continuously. Which warehouse is using its capital more efficiently? The answer is obvious. The second, Costco would rather sell 1 million units of a popular product than stock 50 different versions that each sell slowly. Volume creates efficiency, and efficiency reduces costs. This philosophy extends far beyond the sales floor. Look up toward the ceiling inside almost any Costco warehouse. You'll notice something unusual. The products stacked above you aren't decorative displays. They're inventory. Many retailers unload products into large storage rooms hidden behind the store. Employees later move those products back onto the shelves. That's two separate handling processes, two separate labor costs. Costco often eliminates one of those steps entirely. The shipping pallet arrives. The pallet is placed directly onto industrial racks. When inventory on the sales floor runs low, employees simply lower another pallet into position. Fewer touches, less labor, less time, lower operating costs multiply. That efficiency across hundreds of warehouses and millions of products every year, and the savings become enormous. But perhaps Costco's greatest advantage isn't simply moving inventory quickly. It's knowing almost exactly what to reorder and when. Every purchase made by a member generates data, not just what was purchased, but where, when, how often, during which season, even how shopping patterns change over time. That information helps Costco forecast demand with remarkable accuracy. If sales of bottled water begin increasing in one region during the summer, future shipments can be adjusted before shelves become empty. If seasonal furniture begins slowing in another market, inventory can be redirected elsewhere. The goal isn't to eliminate uncertainty. That's impossible. The goal is to reduce expensive surprises. Because in retail, running out of inventory costs money. But carrying too much inventory also costs money. Finding the balance is where operational excellence begins, and Costco has spent decades refining that balance. The company's relationships with suppliers make the system even more effective. Unlike retailers constantly negotiating with hundreds of small vendors, Costco works closely with a relatively limited number of strategic partners. Those suppliers understand Costco's expectations: large purchase volumes, consistent quality, reliable delivery. In return, Costco often offers something suppliers value just as much: predictability. Imagine you're manufacturing millions of paper towels every year. Would you rather receive dozens of small, unpredictable orders from hundreds of retailers, or one enormous, consistent order from Costco? Large, stable orders allow manufacturers to plan production more efficiently. Factories operate closer to full capacity. Transportation becomes easier to schedule. Costs decline throughout the supply chain. Some of those savings stay with the manufacturer. Many flow back to Costco. And Costco passes a significant portion of those savings directly to its members through lower prices. It's another example of the same cycle repeating itself. Lower costs, lower prices, more members, higher sales, even stronger purchasing power. The machine keeps reinforcing itself. But there's another decision that surprises many economists. For decades, Costco has consistently paid its employees significantly more than many competing retailers. Higher wages, better benefits, lower employee turnover. At first glance, that seems completely inconsistent with a company obsessed with keeping costs low. Wouldn't paying workers more reduce profits? In the short term, yes. In the long term, the answer is far more interesting. Because Costco discovered that spending more on employees could actually make the entire business more profitable. And that may be one of the smartest investments the company has ever made. Most businesses treat labor as an expense. The logic seems straightforward. If you reduce labor costs, profits should increase. That's why many retailers focus on hiring at the lowest possible wage, minimizing benefits and keeping staffing levels lean. On paper, it looks like an efficient strategy, but Costco looked at the problem differently. Instead of asking, how can we spend less on employees? The company asked, what happens if we invest more in them? For decades, Costco has consistently paid higher wages than many of its biggest competitors. It has also offered stronger benefits, clearer career paths, and a work environment that encourages employees to stay for years rather than months. At first, this appears to contradict everything we've discussed so far. A company obsessed with reducing costs is willingly spending more on payroll. Why? Because Costco isn't optimizing for today's paycheck. It's optimizing for long-term efficiency. Think about what happens when employee turnover is high, workers leave, new. Employees need to be hired. They must be interviewed, trained, supervised. And during those first weeks, they're usually less productive than experienced. Staff, every employee who quits, creates another hidden cost. Now imagine the opposite. An employee stays for 5 years, or 10, or even 20. That person understands the warehouse, knows where products are located, works faster, makes fewer mistakes, provides better customer service, and can help train new team members. Experience compounds over time, just like interest in a savings account. Costco benefits from that compounding effect every single day. The company consistently reports employee turnover rates that are significantly lower than much of the retail industry. That stability creates something competitors often struggle to achieve at operational consistency. Walk into different Costco warehouses across the country, and you'll often notice the same thing. Employees know what they're doing. Lines move efficiently, shelves stay organized, problems are solved quickly. Those aren't accidents, they're the result of experienced teams working together year after year. Satisfied employees also influence another critical part of the business, the customer experience. Retail is still a people business, even in an age of self-checkout and online shopping. When employees enjoy coming to work, customers usually notice, questions get answered, returns become easier, checkout. Lines move faster, small interactions improve. Each positive experience increases the likelihood that members renew their annual subscription. And remember, membership. Renewals are the foundation of Costco's business model. Losing a member isn't just losing one shopping trip. It's losing years of future purchases. That's why investing in employees can actually protect the company's most valuable revenue stream. But employee satisfaction isn't the only reason members keep renewing. Costco has quietly built one of the highest renewal rates in the retail industry. In many regions, renewal rates consistently remain above 90%. Think about how remarkable that is. Every year, millions of people voluntarily choose to pay Costco again before buying a single product. Very few subscription businesses achieve that level of loyalty. Streaming services lose subscribers. Gyms struggle with cancellations. Retail loyalty programs often go unused. Yet Costco continues convincing members that paying another annual fee is worthwhile. How? Because every shopping trip reinforces the same message. You're saving more than your membership costs. Imagine paying $60 or $70 for a yearly membership. Now, imagine saving that amount after just a few shopping trips. From that point forward, every additional purchase feels like extra value. Whether that's completely accurate for every customer isn't even the most important part. What matters is perception. Members believe they're consistently getting exceptional deals. That belief keeps them coming back. Psychologists call this commitment and consistency. Once people invest in something, they naturally want to justify that investment. Every Costco visit becomes another reason to believe purchasing the membership was the right decision. It's an elegant feedback loop. The membership encourages shopping. Shopping reinforces the value of the membership. That perceived value increases renewal. Rates up. Renewals provide predictable cash flow. Predictable cash flow allows Costco to continue offering lower prices, which creates even more value for members. The cycle repeats itself year after year. It's one of the strongest self-reinforcing business models in modern retail. But despite all of these advantages, Costco isn't invincible. No. Business is changing consumer habits. E-commerce, inflation, global, supply chain disruptions, economic slowdowns. All of these forces have the potential to challenge even the world's most successful retailers. So the final question is this: can Costco's economic model continue working over the next decade? Has the company already reached the limits of its success? Because the answer reveals the biggest lesson every business can learn from Costco's remarkable story.